NeonicVoid Productions presents.
Hello, hi. I'm currently figuring out what's going on with my life.
Girl,
Hi, I'm
same.
Jacob.
Girls, hi, I'm Devin. And girl, same. Girl, same. What's life? What's things?
What is things? What do I want? All right. Hi, hello. Welcome to Book Watchers.
Yeah.
All right, you know who we are. You know who we are, and those of you who don't, well,
Where
catch
have you
up.
been? Yeah, catch up. Get on our level. Shit.
Get on our level. Yep. And welcome back to today's episode of Book Watchers. Today will not only be we're going to not only be reviewing the final installment of Bear, Otter, and the Kid series, but this will actually be our last recorded episode for the year of 2023.
Well, honestly, when this episode comes out, it's going to be probably 2024 because there are several episodes in the queue before this one.
Very
There's
true.
yeah, but I do. Future note, future Devin, take this part out. At the end, though, I do want to do like a Christmas, Merry Christmas thing we could put on the episode, put on for the week before Christmas or whatever. I haven't decided which one because I just now this past last week was what episode was that? Last week was the heart. I just finished the Wolf Song, the Green Creek series last week. So this week I still have the Drits. Huh?
Did you cry as much as I did when you read the letter? The final at the end of book 4.
Oh, I didn't read them. I said I posted the episodes we did for them.
Oh, okay, never mind. I thought you actually you finished
Not
the
yet.
audiobooks, and I was
I
just
want
like,
to.
did you cry as much as I did? No, because let me tell you something. When I said this in the episode, but like that episode, but when I read that letter, I cried.
Yeah.
I cried.
It's on my list, but I've not gotten it. I just posted those episodes, and then I still have the Dritz 3 books, and then the fairy tale. So I think next week is going to be fairy tale, and then then I'll post Sorry, no, this week will be fairy tale, and then the next 3 weeks will be the Dritz.
Nice.
Series.
Damn, we did those in February. We
The
recorded
Dritz?
those in February. Yeah, we recorded them we recorded them earlier in the year, and you're just now posting them?
Dritz was in June. But yes. Yes, it was June. I haven't gotten around to posting them. I kept forgetting about them. And I'm like, I want to save them because every time something would come up and we would post an episode beforehand, and I'm like, I want to post these episodes together. So I haven't gotten around to doing that. So now they will. Huh?
Yeah.
I'm not going to delete them again. Oh my god! I told them the story about the Salem's Lot.
We deleted it by accident.
I just didn't download it, and then it got deleted, and we're not talking about it again.
Well, to be fair, they're not missing much.
Yeah.
Honestly, that book was boring.
But yeah, next week will be Fairy Tale, and then the weeks after that will be the Dritz D&D series, and then after that, that's when Bear, Otter, and the Kid will start, but that will be in January. So we'll come back to recording. Actually, yeah, when we come back to recording in January, those couple weeks will probably just be books I've read. We'll have a month of me, but we'll do some Christmas thing at the end because that'll be the Fairy Tale episode. Anyway, continue.
Okay.
Continue.
Before we continue, a little off topic here. Godzilla -1 has officially passed Oppenheimer as the highest rated blockbuster film of 2023.
Yes, at the time of the recording.
Yep. Oh, you're gonna leave this in the. You're gonna leave this in.
Yes. Why not? Why not? I can leave this part in. Why
Cool.
not?
Cool. Yeah. Cool. Because we stand Godzilla here. We stand
Oh,
Godzilla
we
here.
stand. I mean, expect at some point in the new year the book on Godzilla and Godzilla raids again. Like
Oh
we're gonna.
yeah. Oh shit. Well then I
We don't
better
have
read
to.
it.
I mean, yeah, of course, of
Because
course.
ladies, at the time of this recording, ladies and gentlemen, I'm currently halfway through book 3 of the Wheel of Time. And there are
Oh,
14 books in this series. And I don't like pausing in between. I don't like pausing between books to read like a book outside of the series. I just
yeah,
power through them. And these books are taking me forever because they're
monsters.
high fantasies. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not that big. Okay, well they're big, but they're not that big of a read, but they're high fantasy and think about high fantasy books is that you really have to like you have to get into the mindset of like the way that the characters in the book is written.
Yeah.
All right, so they're not going to be they're not going to be there's not going to be dialogue in uh written in a way that we would like in a common way that we would understand. It's written in a way that makes sense for these characters in the book, like their dialogue, the references. All right, so you have to really like get into this mindset of like, okay, something significant happened. Like some person, like one character in book 1 mentions like offhandedly mentions something, like for example, in book 1, the horn of there's this artifact called the Horn of Valir, and the Horn of Valir is the centerpiece of book 2, but they
Mhm.
casually mention it offhand in the first book, and I'm like, huh,
So
that's
he's planting seeds early. Yeah.
oh yeah, dude. There are like seeds of what's gonna happen late, like 10 books down the line being referenced in book 1 and 2 already.
And he's not joking. That series is like 14 books long.
Hell, the main character Rand's supposed to have 3 wives, but that doesn't get revealed until like later, later. But one character has the ability to see the future, and she's like, "Huh, you're gonna have 3 wives."
Oh
Well,
God.
he did. Well, she doesn't tell him specifically. She tells one of his future wives. She's like, "Huh, you're gonna end up sharing Rand with 2 other people,"
And ooh.
and she's like, "Nah, bitch, nah."
But yeah, he's working on that. I'm working on a bunch of little books because when we come, obviously when this recording goes up, they've already been done, probably. But
Hopefully, I'll be done with that. Just this one book 3, but
oh, I hope so. But
it's
I'll
gonna
be doing
probably
a
take
bunch of books.
it's gonna probably take me months to read the whole series because it took me
Jesus.
like the better part of a month to read the first 2. I'm not a fast reader, so don't come at me.
Damn. And my eyes got into audiobooks, so y'all best be ready. I got some books to talk about soon. And I also want to get into the freaking oh God. I have the Chronicles of Narnia, and the
Uh-huh.
audiobook is like it comes in a pack of all 7 of them. And I'm like, so I guess at some point I'm gonna talk about the Chronicles of Narnia, that series
There were
at some
7
point.
books.
Yeah,
That's
there's
right.
7. There's 7
That's
books.
right. That's right. Because there's like
Mhm.
there's before the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. There's a
Yup.
book before that one. So the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe isn't the actual first
Yeah.
in the story. There's another one, and
Yeah.
that's actually talks about the origin of the White Witch and how she came to Narnia and how even Narnia was created by Aslan.
Yeah.
And then after the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, there was a book in between the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and Prince Caspian,
Yup.
which that one is more of like I felt like that one was more of like a side book because it wasn't even a main dealing with one of the main characters. It was just talking about like some of the stuff that went on that happened while those 4 kids were in Narnia and ruling over everything.
Mhm.
And then after Prince Caspian, there was another book with just Caspian. And I think like Caspian. I think it was just going to be Caspian, and I think the two youngest kids get come back to Narnia one more time, and then there's Voyage of the Dawn Treader, and then after that there's another book. Honestly, I read those books so long ago I can't remember anymore.
And then there's the very last one that fucks with people still to this day.
What,
On
where
the
they all
ending.
die? Yeah, where they
Whoa.
all die.
Spoiler alert.
Oh
All
yeah,
of
they
them
all
but
die.
all but one. One does not die. I might cut this part out. Susan doesn't die because she's not there.
Yeah. Oh, I thought she did die. Huh.
Mm-mm.
I thought she was
No,
there.
no, she was the only one that was not there. Everyone else died.
Well, they're
And
gonna. Well, when she
yeah,
dies, she'll eventually show up because, like, basically, because the whole thing about the Chronicles of Narnia is that it's like an allegory of like it's
Bible.
an allegory for the Bible. Things like the creation of the world, coming of Messiah, uh, all these different things. And then at the very end, we're talking about Armageddon, but it's not like as violent or as vicious as it was in like as it is in the Bible. But um, it kind of talks it really references like how like it's supposed to be in the Bible, like whenever like the rapture and things like that, and uh, how everybody in Narnia except for like some dwarves basically go to heaven, and yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
but
on my
yeah,
list of
that's like
things too. So
yeah, but
yeah,
we're not here to talk about that book, at least not yet. We
yeah,
will we will eventually.
yeah,
But for right now, we are going to be talking about the final book in the Bear, Otter, and the Kid series.
yeah,
This is called the Long and Winding Road.
yeah,
So, I'll be totally honest with you guys. The reason why Devin and I usually we we fuck around
yeah,
in a lot of episodes, but this one I did it a little bit more because this book is actually I'm probably going to end up skimming through the first half of the book because the first half of the book is literally more of a recap from Bear's perspective on what happened um, during the events of the previous book. Because in the previous book, Who We Are, that was from the perspective of his younger. I'm sorry, the not Who We Are. That's book two. The Art of Breathing, book three, The Art of Breathing, was from the perspective of his younger brother, Tyson McKenna, or the kid.
yeah.
Um, talking, and it was that focused on his struggles, like his own. It was his own coming of age story. It focused on his struggles with drug addiction, him coming to terms with his uh, affections for his older best friend, um, Dominic,
Mm-hmm.
and how their relationship begins. Well, this book, The Long Winding Road, is pretty much like it's a closer. This book was definitely written to be like a closing statement. It's closing out everything. There's a lot of time skips, and it's also showing how Bear and Otter uh are really beginning to start their lives together because now that the kid is out of the house, they're finally able to start making decisions for themselves. Because well, they've always made decisions. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. They've always made decisions for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing is that they had to really live their lives with the kid as their focus. They had to make sure they did everything they could to make sure their kid had a good home. Because of course, first when this whole story started, it was about making sure that Bear got legal custody of Kid, made sure, and then also later they were focused on getting the kid the psychological help he needed, get him weaned off of his drug addiction, and making sure he's set for college. And he did all of that. And now in
Mhm.
this book, the kid, while he still struggles with his own personal stuff, he's in a much better place. He is in the process of dating Dominic. And let me tell you something about Dominic. Dominic is cute. He's cute as fuck because uh immediately set some boundaries with Dom. He still wanted to live at home with Bear and Otter. He wanted because he wanted to work on building their relationship first before they move to the next step and like move in together. But the thing is, Dom, he's already ready. He's like he knows what he wants. He wants the kid to move in with him, right? So
Mhm.
while the kid is still making up his mind and still wanting to work on the relationship, Dom is like sneakily like taking stuff from the kid's room and moving it to his house. So like little things at first, right? Like little things he won't that the kid wouldn't miss or really wouldn't notice that they're gone. But then it escalated. It got to the point where Bear caught Dom trying to move the kid's desk out of his house
Mhm.
and into his own house,
Mhm.
which was hilarious. Which I thought
Well,
was hilarious. Like,
yeah.
sir, you're a police officer, but you're like, I mean, it's not theft really, because kid practically lives at Dom's house at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, he knew what he knows what he wants. But um, so as I've said, this is the first half of the book is retelling the story from book 3 from Bear's perspective.
Mhm.
Him discovering the kid's drug addiction and him and Otter really cracking down on the kid, confiscating all of the like any kind of pills that they could find from him, basically putting him on lockdown, making sure he goes to see his therapist more regularly,
Mhm.
weaning him off the drugs
Mhm.
and trying to help him get back to the place he needs to be in order to succeed in school. And even like some of the things that Bear and Otter fucked up on, like since the kid at the time had cut out Dominic because he couldn't really handle the fact that Dom was married and was basically living his life without the kid. Um, he basically cut Dom off, but Bear and Otter they kept in contact with Dom because they still cared about Dom and they still thought of him as family. And they
Mhm.
knew that Dom had a kid, but they held off on telling the kid just because he was in a very fragile mental state at the time. But then time came for them to go back to Green Creek. I'm sorry, not Green Creek, Seafair. They go back to Seafair, and when they get there, they totally forgot to mention the kid. Like, oh yeah, by the way, your best friend, your BFF forever has a kid now.
Oh,
So
no.
so the kid finds out, and while he actually takes that very well. He's shocked, of course, to find out that his best friend has a kid now. But he was really mad at Bear, so Bear had to really like not only work on uh earning the kid's forgiveness, but also he had to give the kid a reality check too.
Yeah.
Because thing is that while much of their lives had revolved around the kid to ensure his well-being and everything, now that the kid is an adult, it's time for Bear and Otter to live their life. And kid was more or less upset when he found out that Bear and Otter were making plans without him, without really talking to him about what they're gonna do for their futures and everything like that. And Bear had to really put it to him straight. Listen, we love you. We're always gonna be there, but It's time for Otter and me to live our lives.
Mhm.
We've done our part. We made sure that you were taken care of, and we did. Yeah, there was ro- there we it was a bumpy road, but we got there. And now it's time for us to live our lives. And the biggest decision they made was that the two of them had decided that they wanted kids. Now, Otter knew from the beginning he wanted kids, but Bear, he wasn't really ready for that. And for the better part of like they're at this point they've been together for like about 10 years now.
Mhm.
Bear was really like juggling with that decision. And then he finally decides, all right, let's do it. But thing is, even though he made the decision, we're gonna do it together. Like we're gonna work on figuring out how we're gonna have kids. Because Otter had already thought it out, and he put together a portfolio, if you
Oh,
will, of
yeah.
basically like different options for their of conception. So they could either they could either adopt, or they could use a surrogate, go with
Mhm.
surrogate. And Otter had even done some research on a surrogacy program. There were several options they could go for. Like one was, although they both really wanted to do it, one option was basically it's a program where they take the sperm of both partners in the relationship and
Mhm.
mix them together. And when they implant it in a surrogate, it'll basically conceive a child that is both biologically theirs, right? But
Mhm.
unfortunately, that is expensive as fuck. Like
Yeah.
stupidly, that is stupidly expensive. And while Otter is really well off, he actually makes a lot. He does really well for himself, and he makes a lot of money. Um, he doesn't. He's not that rich. We'll
Yeah.
just say that. So they decided that they were just going to go for the basic option, which is just do a standard surrogacy using the sperm of one partner instead. And Otter insisted that Bear be the one to uh, donate his sperm so they can have for the kid.
Mhm.
So they do go through the process. They find a surrogate, really nice woman. She has regularly surrogated for several different couples, same sex couples, because she genuinely enjoys carrying their children so they can have their little bit of happiness, right? Which I think is great. But she has a hippie boyfriend who's kind of weird. I'm not gonna really get talk about him that much because I it's kind
Mhm.
of her boyfriend's kind of weird.
I mean,
And and I mean he's a cool dude. All right,
uh-huh.
he's very supportive of his girlfriend and her lifestyle, right? And her
Uh-huh.
donating uh her uterus to surrogate children for same sex couples, but like he kind of gets a little too much enjoyment out of it. We'll just say that, which
Mhm.
kind of freaks Bear out a bit. But they realize that um, the surrogate that they choose has a lot of the qualities that they would like, because basically she's going to be the mother. Like it's that kind of surrogacy. It's not like they just get a donor egg and just put it in her. Like she's actually donating her own eggs for the surrogacy as well.
Ooh,
So
work.
yeah, so the process of them choosing a surrogate, they want to make sure that like the surrogate is somebody that they will like, somebody they think would
Mhm.
be a right fit for them, and
Mhm.
the girl that they choose. Scusi, un momento. La, la, la. Table of contents. Let's see. Sorry, let me get her name.
No, you're fine.
They actually attend one of those classes with her. Uh, I'm trying to find her name. Megan.
Mhm.
So the surrogate they find to carry their kid is a girl named Megan. She's really nice. If anything, her personality is very similar to Bear's, which is kind of why they chose her. But she has but instead of the same kind of overthinking neuroticism that Bear has, she is very down to earth, and really they really connected when they interviewed her. So they decided we're gonna go with her, and basically at this point in the story, we're already a little bit more than halfway into the book. We're pretty much caught up to the to where it left off in book 3. So now, as it starts getting now, the story starts taking place more in the present.
Mhm.
So so this is where basically the real story begins. Uh, they're having a normal day. Ty is spending time with Dominic. It's just Otter and Bear at the house. They were gonna go. They were planning on going to a doctor's appointment with their surrogate Megan, but they decided not to because they had other things they were going to be doing. Um, and it's at this point they get a knock on the door, and the phone rings. Bear answers the door, and Otter answers the phone. And
Ooh.
these two things really kind of freak Bear out because the person standing at the door is none other than his younger sister that he had never met before, Isabel McKenna, and she had uh, she had made it all the way to Oregon from Idaho, I think. Yeah, Idaho. It's a
Oh
state
God.
right next to. It's a state right next to Oregon.
Montana?
Idaho, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
Idaho. Sorry,
Idaho.
Idaho. You're right. You're right.
So, um, Isabel tells Bear that their mother had unfortunately, well, in Bear's case, fortunately passed away. And rather than wait around for CPS to uh, claim her and take her into their care, as soon as she found out her mom died, Isabel packed up and just dipped. She bought a bus ticket to Seafair. She didn't exactly know she actually she did know their address because um, the kid gave Isabel their address and contact information from in the previous book. She lost their contact info when her mother threw away the contact info, but Isabel had already memorized their address and where to go. So she made it to Seafair. She hiked around a bit and she found the house. She knew it was that, and she knew she had the right house because Tyson had described what the house looked like and what they had named it, the Green Monstrosity. Basically, the most gaudiest color of green. The house is painted a really gaudy shade of green,
Oh.
and she shows up. She tells Bear everything, and Bear's freaking out because now, like, of course, he's not. Now he has his little sister to deal with, and just behind him on the phone, Otter's kind of starting to freak out too because the person on the phone is their surrogate Megan, and while she's doing okay, she tells them that they are having twins.
Oh.
Yep,
Oh
they got a two
shit.
for one.
A 2-for-1.
Yeah, so the rest of the book, they start making these jokes about Bear having super sperm.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Because
the super sperm.
it resulted in a twin pregnancy. So now
Damn.
they got not one, not two, but 3 kids to look after now, including Isabel, who is about 13 years old now.
Oh God.
Yep. So they immediately take Isabel in. Bear contacts the Child Protective Services to inform them that his sister has arrived at their doorstep because they had already became aware of her disappearance. He had to speak to the local authorities in the town that his mom lived and passed away in.
Mhm.
Since he is the oldest next of kin, they basically put it on him to settle all of her affairs. He had to go to Idaho to her home. He took bringing Izzy along with him so that way they can pack up any stuff she left behind so they could take it back to Seafair. He
Mhm.
also had to basically get rid of all of his mother's stuff. Bear had no interest in keeping anything from his mom.
Mhm.
As it's been well established since book one, Bear has no real love for his mother after everything
Yeah.
she had put him through. If anything, none of the McKenna kids had any real love for their mother. All
I mean,
right.
that's fair.
Uh, Bear and Isabel had to deal. Well, all three of them had to deal with neglect from their mom. They grew
Yeah.
up in a household. They all grew up with their alcoholic mother. She never did anything more than the bare minimum. They always felt like their life was not going anywhere. And in Bear's case, he entire life was put on hold because his mom abandoned him and his brother, and forcing Bear to take care of his younger brother.
Yeah.
And while Bear never blamed Tyson for that, he held a lot of resentment for his mom for putting that on him.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Bear dealt with a little bit of with some abandonment problems. Tyson was the one that ended up with it more because while Bear was already an adult when their mother abandoned them, Tyson was still just a little kid. He was about 6 years old, like 5, 6 years old when it happened, and this caused him to develop severe trust and abandonment problems, which
Yeah.
also eventually developed into a full blown panic disorder, which led to his drug addiction as well. Well, I wouldn't say led to it, but what also contributed to what led him to his drug addiction. And then in Isabel's case, I think Isabel got off easy while she still suffered from the same kind of neglect that her older brothers did. Her mom never abandoned her and never did any of the stuff that Bear and Tyson had to deal with. But in the end, her mom died and she was left alone. But the three of them, they felt some measure of relief because now they are finally free of their mom. Uh, they didn't plan they didn't do anything more for her in terms of burial. Uh, uh, Bear didn't even pay for like a funeral service. The state just simply cremated her bodies, and he just claimed her remains. Uh, and after closing up her house, making sure to settle all of her affairs, and selling and donating any of her possessions, they went back to Seafair and they disposed of her remains off of a cliff far from this small stretch of beach that their family has claimed as their own. They didn't want her ashes to be spread on such a special place because they spread the ashes of their surrogate mother.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what was her name? Mrs. Paquin.
Yeah.
So a little stretch of beach on that they've used. This is where Bear and Otter had their first real date, which kind of ended in a disaster because a seagull destroyed their table setting it on fire, and then they got rained on.
Oh
They also had
no.
many, yeah, they also had many special events there. Like Bear and Otter got married on that stretch of beach, and when Mrs. Paquin passed away, she was cremated, and they spread her remains over that little stretch of the beach. And but they didn't want to do the same thing for their mother, so they found a cliff far from that beach, and they just tossed her ashes over the edge, and
Damn.
that was that.
Damn. They're
I
like,
mean,
bye, bitch. I mean, to be fair, she
she didn't
had it
deserve any.
coming.
Yeah, she didn't deserve anything from any of her kids. Right.
No.
While she was never like I've said before, Jolie McKenna was never abusive, like physically, mentally, or like physically or verbally, but the fact that she was an alcoholic and she never did anything more than the bare minimum for her kids, she still neglected them, and neglect is a form of abuse.
Yes, it is.
And in Bear and the kids' case, she abandoned them.
Yeah.
So, um, she deserves nothing more from her kids. They, if anything, they did exactly what she did for them, and they gave
The
her
bare
bare minimum.
minimum. Yeah.
So, for the rest of the book, this is it just comes to it's just really, like I said, it's closing out of the story. Bear and Otter are preparing for the arrival of their twins. They decided to wait on the revelation of the gender of their babies,
Yeah.
and they had to basically completely redo their baby room. They converted Tyson. Well, actually, I'm sorry. They had a spare room that they had already set up for the arrival of their singular baby, but now they had to redo it for their now two babies coming in. Um, Izzy ends up taking Tyson's old room, turns it into her own, and Bear's amazed at how similar Izzy is to Tyson, while at the same time being very similar to him. Where Tyson is like a vegetarian. I don't want to say vegan, but is a vegetarian
Mhm.
and a staunch animal rights activist. Uh, she's quite the opposite. She's very smart and she's very into things like bugs and insects and entomology.
Yeah.
But she is not a vegetarian. If anything, she kind of like she jokes around with Bear about that too. And Bear's like, "Oh my god, where have you been my whole life?" But as uh as they patiently await the arrival of their kids, they attend a few classes with their surrogate. What are those classes called? It's where they like learn the breathing exercises, getting
Oh,
prepared for the
you're talking about those classes that pregnant women take before they give birth?
yeah, yep.
I don't know
It's
what
like
they're
where they
called, but yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah they regularly spend time with their surrogate and her boyfriend, and as they're waiting for their babies to arrive. Bear is becoming utterly charmed by Otter because Otter is starting to turn into this emotional mess because he's very excited for their babies, right? But he's also really nervous too. He's
Mhm.
just like, but what if they don't like me? Like,
Oh,
like I just want to be a good dad, and because like Otter is usually the confident and self assured one, while Bear
mhm.
is the emotional mess.
Yeah.
And Bear's over here like, wait, what's going on? What, hold up, because Bear is like he is freaking out more or less. He's over here like understandably nervous about his kid's arrival, but at the same time he's looking at Otter and he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But event and aside from that, they also have to, like I was saying earlier, they have to work with Child Protective Services because um, they have to make sure they legally get uh, guardianship over Izzy, which at this point it wasn't as much of an ordeal as it was with Tyson, since Bear is also registered as a Bear and Otter are registered as a
Mhm.
foster parents. They were able to take her in and they were able to immediately take her in. So CPS didn't come in and be like, no, we got to put her with a foster family before you guys can
Yeah.
take uh, guardianship over her, because they're and CPS, considering that they already have files on Bear and Otter, and they already know like their record is clean and is good. They immediately put her in their care, and they quickly get guardianship over her. So her life is getting so much better now. Eventually, the day arrives where the two welcome their babies. into the world. They get the call that their surrogate has gone into labor, and they immediately head to the hospital. Um, they make sure that she's okay. It does take a little over 14 hours for her to finally give birth to the kids. While they're waiting, the rest of their extended family show up. There's Otter's parents, their best friend Creed, their best friends Creed and Otter. Well, Creed is Otter's younger brother, and
Mhm.
Bear's best friend, and also their other best friends, Anna, who is Creed's wife, and it's hilarious. There's a very cute and also hilarious moment because while they're waiting, Bear becomes such. I'm sorry, not Bear. Otter becomes such an emotional mess that he actually starts bawling his eyes out, and Bear is just standing
Aw.
there like, "Wait, what? How am I the calm one in this situation?" And Otter's dad reveals that all of the uh, Thompson men cry at the birth of their first kids.
Mhm.
So like when Creed had his first kid, JJ, he also cried. And then when Otter's dad had Otter, he cried his
Mhm.
eyes out. And it's funny because there's a
Aw.
moment where all of their spouses are just like looking at the Thompson men like these manly motherfuckers are crying their eyes out right now. Like they're
Mm-mm-mm.
not the ones doing the work. They're not the ones, pushing a baby out of them. But either way, it was cute, and it was like for Bear, it was like, wow, this is how the turns have tabled.
How
Because
the
normally
turns have tabled.
Bear's the emotional wreck, and now here's Otter turning into such an emotional wreck too. And Bear's like, pull yourself together. You're supposed to be the strong one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they do finally welcome their twin babies into the world. They see here. They welcome in a baby boy and a baby girl.
Aw.
Yep. Let me see here. Let me see here. Let me see here. Let me get their names. Let me get their names. Let's see here. What are their kids' names? Because they. All right. So they ended up naming their boy Noah,
Ooh.
and let me see Noah and his sister Lily. So they welcomed in their twin babies, Noah and Lily Thompson. And I'm sorry, I don't think I mentioned this before, but when Bear and Otter got married, Bear took on Otter's family name Thompson. So he's no longer Derek McKenna, he is Derek Thompson.
Ooh.
And they, of course, their kids have Otter's surname,
Mhm.
Thompson surname. And basically, the story is going to start wrapping up. There's a few time skips after the birth of the kids, like where there's going to be about a 5 year time skip into the future, about a 5 year time skip. The kids, uh, the Thompson family, Bear, Otter, Noah, Lily, and Izzy are all getting ready for a wedding, and this wedding is actually the wedding of Tyson and Dominic.
Mhm.
So they're all attending. There's a little cute, little hilarious scene where the where uh Bear and Otter walk in on their twins playing doctor.
Oh my god.
Not that kind. It's more of like Lily's trying to
Yeah.
perform surgery on uh
Yeah.
on Noah. Now,
Yeah.
Noah's personality is clearly the more reserved and quiet, introverted type, while Lily is the one that is the troublemaker. And well, of course, Noah loves his sister and always wants to be around and follow his sister around. Always goes along with whatever harebrained scheme his sister comes up with. So his sister says, "I want to perform surgery on you." Noah's like, "Okay."
Uh,
So
what can go
it's a
wrong
nice,
there?
So there's a nice little scene. Two of them, they're all getting ready for the wedding, and they go to attend Tyson and Dominic's wedding. Uh, Dominic has his son Ben as his best man, and by this point, Ben is like, let's see, I think the kid, Noah and Lily are about 4 or 5 years old at this point. So, and in the events of the art of breathing, Ben was about 2 or 3.
Mhm.
So he's about 7 years old now. And yeah, so those two finally get married. And after this little scene, there is another time skip. This is the epilogue and the closing of the story. Now it is about 10, like somewhere between 10 and 12 years later. And this part got me a little fucked up because in the epilogue, Bear is now 50 years old and Otter is close to 60.
Mhm.
And the kids are now teenagers, about 16 years old. And it's a cute little scene because um, Otter's having a conversation with Lily and Noah, and they're trying to tell him something, and they're very nervous about it. And but they wanted to tell him first because they know how if they don't approach Bear about this subject right, then Bear may freak out. Not in a bad way,
No.
but not in a bad way, but more in that like he is like his nerves can't handle it kind of way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Noah comes out as gay, basically. And
Oh.
it's one of those moments where like it's like, oh, is that it? Like all Otter is over here like, oh, well, it's okay, bud. We already knew.
Ooh.
But it but Noah kind of outs himself further by hinting that he's sexually active too, and Otter's like, excuse
Oh
me?
god.
Nothing. Like you know those things that like teenagers do where they're just like trying to talk to their parents about something and then they accidentally out themselves on doing something they know they shouldn't.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, this is pretty much where the book ends. I know I didn't really go into too much detail with this book. That's mainly because most of it was just like I said, a recap summary of what happened in The Art of Breathing, but from Bear's perspective. There's a few extra scenes that I didn't really talk about. Like there's a hilarious interaction between Bear and Creed. Since the two of them, they're still best friends. Creed has 2 kids now, JJ and AJ. Yeah, there's a theme of names going on here.
Mhm.
JJ being the oldest, and he's also a troublemaker too because it's funny, he gets into everything, but Creed, he has the dad thing down, so like he has this whole parenting thing down. So like while he's having a conversation with Bear, he'll suddenly stop and call out, JJ, pull that fork away from that power socket this instant. And from behind him, you can hear JJ going, "Oh man," and Bear's like,
Oh my
you
god.
didn't even Bear's like, you didn't even look at him. How did you know he was doing that? And Creed is over here like, it's a dad thing.
Oh lord.
And yeah, Creed is that kind of cool, is that he's taken to the role of dad very well. Like he's a total dad. I'm not talking daddy, I mean no, he's a dad.
He's just a dad.
Mm-hmm. And there was a hilarious scene where Bear and Otter, trying to spice up their sex life, try to do some role playing at a hotel, which fails spectacularly, as these things do.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's pretty much it for the final installment of The Long and Winding Road. And I think it was a cute ending. It got me fucked. The ending got me fucked up because it's like, of course, there's this big time skip. Now Otter and Creed are, I'm sorry, not Creed. Otter and Bear are well into their 50s now, and I'm just like, oh god, oh, I can't. I just
50s.
can't.
Oof.
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 I don't even think I'll be alive, but I don't think I'll live to see my 50s with how stressed out I am. Well, you know what? Studies say that people who have anxiety tend to live longer. And I'm like, oh, you fucking whores. Are you telling me are you telling me because of how of my anxiety I'm going to live longer?
I want to live till like I'm 100. I want to be an old as dirt when I go. That's what I want to do. I want to be old as dirt. I want to be the crazy grandpa that just says shit out of pocket.
I just want to be that dude that they experiment a like anti-aging formula on, but it turns out to work out too well, so I don't age at all. So like I'll be in my 90s and I'll still look like I'm in my 30s.
Girl, if you ever become a vampire, you better fucking tell me. You better at least offer me eternal life, goddammit. Like that TikTok.
I'm probably gonna be like Louis. If I ever become a vampire, I'm probably gonna turn into like a vampire like Louis from the Interview with a Vampire.
Oh god, yeah.
All depressed and like, is this what you want to become food for the immortals? All depressed and shit.
Oh my god. Drama.
Honestly, I'll tell you this. I could not finish that book because Louis was so fucking depressing. See, I would probably be more like Lestat.
Oh god. How?
Fucking dancing around with a corpse. Like, there's still life in this one yet.
Oh god, the dramatic, the camp.
Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, if you're immortal and can live for like, if you're gonna live for eternity, all right, what's the point of not like being chaotic and funny like that, huh?
I mean, that's true. Be camp, because what else you got to live for, right?
Uh-huh. Like, what else am I gonna do with my time?
You right.
But anyway, that is it for this story.
Yeah.
The Bear, Otter, and the Kid series for me was definitely it was a refreshing story because I typically read mostly science fiction and fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And fiction as well.
It's true.
Well, it's weird. Like, okay, I can't really count. Like, even in the fiction category, it still falls into the science fiction because, like, if you read Stephen King novels, they're technically like, if you go to Barnes and Noble, the Stephen King shit used to be filed under fiction, but then they moved it to horror.
Yeah.
And then also there were several other fiction novels like this independent writer Jeremy Robinson, like his Project Nemesis series and a few other series were often categorized under fiction, but they would probably fit better under the science fiction shit. And there's another author I read named Steve Alton. He wrote the Meg series.
Yeah.
You've seen the movie The Meg. Those movies were based off of his books.
Yeah.
All right. The books were better. I'm telling you that right now.
I like the movies. Don't listen to him. They're fun. They're stupid, and they're great. And then he's made like they made like 10 million books, and damn well they're gonna make like 10 million movies of each book.
I haven't even seen the second one, and I'm not interested in seeing the second one.
The second one is so camp. It's so stupid, but like it's fun, stupid.
Well, see, that's the thing. You and I hate camp, and you love it.
I do. I live I live.
You
Live.
you live for the camp.
Like it's
And
so
I'm over here-
stupid. Like it's stupid, but it's a fun movie to watch because it's stupid. And what's better than watching people get eaten by a shark? A bitch gets eaten whole, devoured whole. It's so great. It's so great. I love these type of movies. Oh, I live.
What is better than seeing a shark eat people? Seeing a giant monster eat people, which you do see in the Project Nemesis series.
We haven't talked about those books yet.
Well,
Or that
because there isn't a
book.
movie. Well, because there wasn't a movie about it, but now that you say it, I can't say that. I can't say we don't
Yeah.
have an excuse anymore.
Yeah,
We don't have an excuse anymore. We should. Okay, coming up in the new year, Project Nemesis by Jeremy Robbins.
I swear, in 2024, we should have a whole month of monster books.
Yeah,
Oh my
we'll
God.
we'll definitely review the Godzilla
Godzilla.
and Godzilla Raids Again. I gotta tell you
Yeah.
though, Godzilla Raids Again was probably the worst Godzilla movie. Next to the next to fucking Matthew Broderick's 1998 Godzilla.
Oh, bitch. They have that movie on Hulu, and I want to do an episode of it on Spook, and I'm going to have you on there. So I'm going to force you to watch it with me.
God.
Prepare yourself. It's going to happen sometime next year.
Oh my God. I'm pretty sure you're going to have Dakota on there, and he's just going to be teasing me the whole time.
Dakota. I could.
Yeah.
I could have Dakota on that episode. Oh, because he does love that movie, doesn't he?
He does. Well, I don't even think he does. He just jokes about it because he knows it triggers me.
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm marking it on the calendar. At some point, Godzilla 1998 TriStar. And then it's not that bad of a movie. From what I remember as a child, it's not that bad of a movie.
Okay, so I'll give you this. If you just take it as it is, exclude it from the whole Godzilla franchise, then it's not terrible. But the fact that it is marketed as Godzilla, TriStar bought the rights to Godzilla, just so they could make this movie, and this is what they gave us.
It wasn't even that bad of a Godzilla film. It's Godzilla. It is Godzilla, though. What do you mean?
It's not even Godzilla. It is a giant irradiated iguana.
Isn't Godzilla? Isn't Godzilla nothing more than a giant radiated lizard?
Godzilla is an extremophile. All right.
An extremo what?
Extremophile, a life form that evolved under extreme conditions. All right, that can survive in extreme conditions. This Godzilla can't even take a fucking missile to the face without dying. And don't get me started on his atomic breath.
You leave her alone. She's doing her best.
No, she's
not. Zilla is doing her best.
Her best is not enough.
Stand with Zilla. Stand with Zilla.
Don't stand with Zilla.
Stand with Zilla.
All right. Don't stand with Zilla. They literally bought the Telescope. Literally got the rights to that Godzilla just so they can kill it off in their own movie. They were like, okay, you know what? We're gonna just take this back, and they put in Godzilla Final Wars for Godzilla to kill, and Godzilla killed Zilla in like 2 seconds.
Crime. It's a crime.
No, that was justice right there. What was the real crime was how poorly done that movie, that this version of Godzilla was. And Telescope was like, all right, we're going to put you on trial, and the verdict is death by execution by Godzilla. The real Godzilla.
Oh my God. I mean, to be fair, Godzilla... I mean, I can go into a whole rant on how Toho's Godzilla over the years is nothing more than a campy ass mess. but this is not the podcast for that. And I feel like I'll be
We did
attacked. I did.
Let me tell you. You said
He's
this is not
ridiculous.
the podcast for this. Well, let me tell you something, man.
It will be.
Yes,
It will be when we get to the Godzilla book. We could talk about it.
dude. Yeah, I won't lie. There are good movies and there are bad movies. All right, like I just said,
Sorry.
like
Yeah.
Godzilla Raids Again was not my favorite because every time I watch it, I just like zone out because it was so boring and uninteresting. But then later on, they get you have some really good ones. I mean, some of the bad ones I can list off right now, like Godzilla's Revenge is that one that they made with children in mind, where it's like that kid with Milla.
Yeah.
And Godzilla fights that really stupid campy monster Gabara.
Yeah.
So that one was really dumb. Let me see. Godzilla versus Hedorah. That one actually was considered one of the better ones, surprisingly. But let me tell you something. That was a trip. You watch that movie and you feel like you're having like some sort of acid trip.
God,
Right?
Toho.
And that's also the one where Godzilla flies.
Yeah.
Uses his atomic breath and everything to propel himself through the air. And then Godzilla versus Megalon, which was more of like a production mess because they used a lot of stock footage from previous movies that they re-edited and touched up for this movie.
Ew. Like Power Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something I will give Netflix on Power Rangers. I know that we're on a tangent, but since Netflix is redoing Power Rangers, they're actually not going to use any more footage from the Super Sentai series. They're actually going away from the traditional formula and they're actually going to do everything from scratch. And I'm like, there we go. Progress. If you didn't know, Power Rangers a lot of the time were using Japanese footage for their stuff, at least the older seasons of the American stuff. Anyway, you didn't know that?
No, I stopped watching Power Rangers a long time ago.
When you watch Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the Yellow Ranger is a female, and the American one is a female, and the Japanese one, it's a male. So if you look at the costume during the fight scenes, you will obviously know it's a male, not a female. Just put it that way.
I think I do remember stuff like that because something like that. There was a show I was watching where like every time like obviously very female character would transform, they would turn into a very male-looking character.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
And it's kind of, but yeah, no, the Yellow Ranger was a male in the Japanese series that they took from the Mighty Morphin. It's weird. Anyway. Cool. Yeah, this book, amazing series. Go read it or go listen to it because, Audible Queen over here, we do not discriminate against audio listeners of audiobooks because I listen to audiobooks. Shut up.
I mean, you don't.
I've listened to 3 books in less than 2 weeks. What have you done?
Read an actual book.
Yeah, and how long has it taken you, sir?
Let me see. Well, it's been 2 weeks and I'm already halfway through it. So, well, then again, I haven't had a lot of time to read it. If I had time, I would just sit like today. I'm probably just going to sit down and read it.
For the rest of the night.
Yeah, if not that, I'll probably just be sitting down reading the Godzilla book you gave me.
Oh, that's true. I do need to do that too.
Probably gonna have to clean. I'm probably gonna be cleaning up the house a bit too. You know what? I'm gonna save the cleaning for later tonight. I like doing the cleaning late.
Like a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening to today's episode. Catch us next time as we talk about something else. Talk about another book. It'll probably be me talking about something. But yeah.
Yeah, and I'll be taking a break. Yay.
Yay. Bye.